Hey there, 8th graders. Here with some quick instructions for your last and final Civil War project. The Civil War has been our long unit we've been working on over the last 6 weeks, and you guys have been doing a nice job, and we're finally coming to the end. So your final project is on Reconstruction, and so the week of the 8th to the 12th of this month, you've been doing the Odyssey readings on Reconstruction. And so for this project, you're going to take what you've read and some other resources and work on kind of practicing our writing skills. I know it's not everyone's favorite thing, but we'll talk a little bit about why that is. So you come down here to Civil War project number 6, and you'll see that there is only one attachment, and that is a Google Doc. Everything you need is in this Google Doc. It's the instructions as well as what you'll be turning in. I did put on here to please schedule time to Zoom with me if you get stuck on this assignment and you need some assistance. Even though on Odysseyware, I'm sure it's going to show that it's due on a certain day of the week, whatever it is for your schedule. Please keep in mind you always have an entire week to complete your assignments. So I don't want you to feel stressed like you have to do this in one day or even in 2 days. You can take your time, you can set up a time, and I can help you with it. We can work on it together. So you're going to click here on this Google Doc. It'll open your own copy of it up. Here's your big idea. There's Reconstruction. Here's our question. Was it successful? And if you came to my Zoom lesson, this is one of the things we talked a little bit about in our Zoom lesson. So your task is to work on developing a thesis statement and finding evidence to answer the question about whether or not it was successful. We are going to use this as a way to practice our skill of organizing your writing and the writing process and the importance of that as we move forward. So one of the things you need to consider is what is success? How do we figure out if something is successful? How do we determine if Reconstruction is a failure because it didn't meet all of the goals, or is it partially successful, or is it entirely successful? That's something you'll have to determine as you work through your materials. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to come down and look at some of the sources. Obviously, you can use your Odysseyware lessons. It's the lessons that you had last week. But also, I have put down here 3 other sources that you might want to look through to kind of give you an idea. This is a PDF that talks about both successes and failures. Please be careful. Do not copy and paste from this, but it will give you an opportunity to get some ideas. There is a crash course Reconstruction video. It's a little longer than I usually like to have you watch, but it is really good. John Green gets on my nerves a little bit, but it has a lot of really good information. So especially if you're a learner who needs to see and hear things instead of just reading them, this would be a really good place to start. Also, this is the file that I made that I used in my Zoom lesson, so that you can also have access to. So you're going to start here with these sources. Just kind of take a look at them. You don't need to look at all of them necessarily, but you want to have a pretty good idea about what you're going to, where you're going to find your information. What you really are completing for this assignment is the organizer, which follows. And you'll see that up here in the instructions, I have completing the organizer. In blue here are topics that you should consider. Do you need to include every single one of these? No, not necessarily. Will you probably include most of them? I'm guessing probably. All right. So these are just some things for you to think about. You'll notice they are going to correspond with your sources. And then you'll just turn this Google Doc in on Google Classroom. So what it looks like down here is this is a writing organizer. The reason we're using this is to get us into the practice of how do we organize our writing. I know you've done that a lot in 6th and 7th grade, and in 8th grade, we want to continue that practice. We don't want to just write. We want to work in the process of writing. And so we want to practice that a little bit with this particular project. So here's the question. Was Reconstruction successful? Well, in order for you to judge whether or not it's successful, I have laid out its 3 goals right here. So these are the 3 things that Reconstruction was trying to complete, trying to address, trying to work through in the years of Reconstruction. So in order for you to determine if it is successful, you need to provide evidence of whether they did or did not meet those goals. So here, you're going to go in this box. You're going to type your introduction, tell me a little bit about when Reconstruction was, what it was, and its goals. You don't need to, obviously, do not put all three of them exactly as they are, but kind of, put them in your own words. Then down here, the big thesis statement. This has got to be good. It's got to be clear, concise, one sentence. What is your answer? Was it successful or not? And how do you want to phrase that? And then this would normally be your introduction paragraph. We're not going to write it in paragraphs. We're practicing the process of organizing. So then here would be goal number 1. And I just copied it from up here and put it down here just so you have it right at the top. What is your topic sentence? How are you going to connect this goal to your thesis statement? Did they achieve this goal or not, or partially, or however you're going to explain it? Right here, it's one sentence. Then down here, you are going to find evidence to support this topic sentence. This can be statements that are bulleted with some explanation. Don't just put the title of something. Don't just put Amendment 14. You need to explain what that is and how it might apply. But it does not need to be written in full, complete sentences. Okay, this is an organizer. So down here, and you can have 3, you can have more than 3. I just put bullets there so that you know it's bulleted. And this is a good place for you. I noticed, see, I put it in blue. That's so you can see up here, these are some of the things you might want to think about. And you could have more things and different things that are on this list. These were just things that I thought of that I wanted you to consider. Then you'll do the same thing for goal number 2, topic, sentence, and evidence. Goal number 3, topic, sentence, and evidence. And then here, we're going to kind of do a short conclusion, 1 or 2 sentences, go back to your thesis, reword it, and maybe make a connection to something that you found from Reconstruction that might apply to today. Whether or not it's been successful all the way until 2021, or how you think it may have impacted history beyond the time period of the Reconstruction. So that's going here. So this is what you're going to work on. For some of you, this is not a difficult task. You did you can easily read the Odyssey Ware lessons. You'll use the resources, and this won't be a huge challenge. I know for some of you, writing is not your favorite thing to do, and I know we're not technically writing a full 5-paragraph essay here, but the organization of this can sometimes be a little challenging. So I did put on here, part of the reason I'm doing this is because in 5 months, you get to walk into Mechanicsburg High School, which is exciting, very exciting for you. But part of my job is to make sure you're ready. And your high school teachers, all of them, will expect that you can write a 5-paragraph essay with thesis statements, evidence, topic sentences, introductions, and conclusions. And I know some of you can already do that, and some of you just need to keep working at that. And so this process is part of what we do in 8th grade to try to make sure you're ready. And for me to continue to give you feedback on that. So if you need help, if you need me to sit with you and work through the organizer or come up with ideas, please set up a time to Zoom with me. Don't feel like this needs to be done on Monday or Tuesday or whatever day it shows up on Odyssey Ware. Just make sure you're working on it and ask questions. So that's what you're going to do for this project. It's our final project of the Civil War. Yay! And then obviously next is the test. And if you go back to Google Classroom, you can see right here, there is a study guide. You can make a copy of it. There is also a Kahoot that will go over the answers to the study guide. So please use those resources. Do not take your study guide, or do not take your test without your study guide. It will be a lot easier if you do the study guide first. And I'll send some stuff out about it. Have a great week, guys. Let me know if I can help in any way.